People everywhere are starting to listen to him. He's going on French, British, Italian, Japanese television.
This is the Wide World of Weingarten.
Wide World of Weingarten. It's Monday, April 25th, about noon here in Los Angeles. Currently got some French League 2 soccer going to my left. Getting ready for baseball. Got a lot of recapping to do from the weekend and a couple bets at the end of the show for tonight. We're about, 12, 14 games into the season so far. The Rockies, the Angels, and the A's have been the most surprising teams on the upside to me. Records of 8-4, 8-5, and 8-6. I did not expect the A's to be a team that I actually wanted to watch at all, but somehow with their lineup, and they always have these really funky lineups of players that other teams didn't want. Tony Kemp, Sheldon Noisy, who actually was in Oakland and then traded to LA and back to Oakland. They get a lot out of these guys that nobody else wanted to start. So I've been enjoying watching them. I don't know why. The Mets 10-4 without a single inning from DeGrom. Very positive. We'll get an update on DeGrom at some point today. Hopefully he can start throwing. There's notable WAR leaders in the NL. Manny Machado leads the way at 1.6. This is B WAR. Arenado and Lindor. Nolan Arenado behind him at 1.4 and 1.3. In the AL, J.P. Crawford at 1.3. That's a surprising name to see. Maybe finally turning the corner in Seattle and becoming the player everyone thought he could be when he was a prospect. Buxton and Wander Franco both at 1.2 WAR. I mentioned last week that the power had not yet shown up for Wander Franco, and he hit two home runs in a game after that. So very impressive. Wander Franco is definitely a MVP tier candidate at this point. What else? There's Ty France, Big Fly Ty, also with a 1.2 B WAR to start the season. Over the last week, France leads the AL on average with at 500, 13 hits, 7 runs, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, 23 total bases, a 5.52 OBP, and a 1.437 ops. Very, very impressive numbers for Ty France. I think it's safe to say that Ty France and Matt Brash going to Seattle and Austin Nola going to San Diego, the Mariners definitely won that side of the trade. For pitchers, got some weird names early in the season. Cubs reliever Keegan Thompson leads the way with a 1.2 WAR. Did not expect to see that. Pablo Lopez at 1.1. Merrill Kelly at 1. One of my friends who's an elite fantasy baseball player actually asked me for Merrill Kelly's Cy Young odds. He's pitching versus Dodgers tonight, so I guess I'll keep an eye on that, see if maybe there's something like 100-1 plus to pick off, but highly doubt Merrill Kelly's going to end up on my Cy Young card regardless of what other people tell me. AL pitching, Dylan Bundy leads the way with a 1 WAR. Zach Greinke, 0.9. Garrett Whitlock, also 0.9. Greinke throwing some nasty stuff, but he's not getting strikeouts. He'll never have Cy Young value without the strikeouts, unfortunately. But he's definitely eating innings and providing value to the Royals rotation. Garrett Cole, he bounced back on Sunday, pitched 6.2 innings, gave up 4 hits, 0 runs, 9 strikeouts, and 92 pitches, brought his ERA down to 4. In his previous start, Cole only threw 4 pitches at 2,500 RPMs or higher. Yesterday he threw 19. Could probably be partially attributed to whatever substance he had on the back of his pants and partially attributed to not pitching in such cold weather like he did in his previous starts. Cole's definitely a Cy Young contender, but he's clearly behind Ohtani, and I'd much rather have Shane Mcclanahan at still double the price than Garrett Cole. He's still a guy that I'm absolutely fading in the AL Cy Young market. Over in Queens, I mentioned before, the Mets out to a 10-4 start. Their top 4 starters have an ERA of 3 or lower through 3 turns in the rotation, and that's all without Jacob deGrom having thrown a pitch. Like I said, he's having an MRI today, and there should be some updates if and when he could start throwing again. If the news is positive, I'd say it's probably about the last chance to grab some of those 50-1 Cy Young numbers on deGrom. Another interesting thing with the Mets, I saw this weekend that the Mets analytic department now has like 42 or 43 employees. So basically, they have more analytics people than they do on the 40-man roster, which makes sense because there's no cap on front office spending. So a $10 million investment, or I'm just making up that number, but you can spend that on a fourth starter, or you could just pay for multi-years of a fully staffed, fully funded analytics department. And you could see the Mets analytics department has already paid massive dividends in a short amount of time, and will most likely continue to do so. Another pitcher I mentioned quickly was Shane Mcclanahan. He had 21 swinging strikes on 86 pitches in a 5-2 win over the Red Sox on Sunday. 7 strikeouts, 2 earned runs, 2.45 ERA on the season so far. Definitely a top-tier Cy Young contender in the AL, and a guy I would much rather have my money on than Garrett Cole. Byron Buxton was back this weekend, the first player in Twins history to hit 6 home runs in his first 10 games of the season. He's definitely an MVP contender if he can stay healthy, which is a big if. Buxton had a 469-foot walk-off home run, the longest walk-off tracked by StatCast, so since 2015. Buxton could be really hot or really injured. There's really no in-between with him. Last I saw him, he was striking out every at bat against the Dodgers. Now here he's hitting home runs every at bat. So he's so he drifted out. I'd say like 18-1, 20-1. It looks like he's back down under 10-1 for MVP with those home runs this weekend. Like I said, it's definitely a contender, but I think it's a bit of a crowded field. And Mike Trout hit 2 home runs on Saturday, and he was kind of forgot about for a minute. His MVP odds had sort of drifted out to 10-1, and I think I might have even seen as high as 11-1 this weekend. Now it's back down to the 5 or 6 range. Really sorry, I was just trying to see. It looks like the team I bet on already scored a goal in France. That's cool. But yeah, sorry. So I think Trout's back down to the 5 or 6 range, and the market is sort of seeming to tell us that after 12, 14 games, there's about 6 guys in the AL MVP pool who have a serious chance. It's Ohtani, Vlad, Mike Trout, Buxton, Franco, Wander Franco, and Jose Ramirez. The thing with Trout, and I mentioned this a lot last year with Ohtani, is that Ohtani has to be better than Trout to win. And that happened last year. So this year, I kind of think Trout has to be better than Ohtani. And outside of a 50 home run season or something crazy, I think the mantle has been passed for Ohtani being the best player in baseball. And it's just one of those sort of bar arguments. You can argue, well, Vlad does this, Trout does that. Wander Franco's the best young player. Whatever. You're totally right, but I'm just not going to be able to ever get past the guy that hits leadoff and bats leadoff, hits home runs, steals bases, and throws 99-mile-an-hour sliders. So that's the end of the argument for me. Trout ends up as the second fiddle in the Angels MVP odds at this point, and I don't think that's going to change barring injury. Astros rookie shortstop Jeremy Pena hit a walk-off home run Sunday, his third home run of the season. Pena had been 2 for 20 with 7 strikeouts during the Astros homestand before that home run, so he's clearly in the conversation in a very crowded AL Rookie of the Year field. I saw he was 25-1, then 14-1. Now he's like 7-1, with similar odds to Julio Rodriguez. Spencer Torkelson's up there in the race. There's really 5, 6, 7 guys in the American League all making serious cases early. Finally got some signs of life out of Julio Rodriguez this weekend. He had 22 strikeouts at one point and 44 at bats. Walked with the bases loaded, had a nice RBI double, and led all of MLB on Sunday with a 112.1 mile an hour exit velocity, hardest hit baseball of the day. Definitely don't count him out. Seeing his odds drifting closer, I see some 7s and 8s. If it gets up past 10, I'll definitely bet him again. But that's a guy who should remain a front runner. I don't think he's going to get sent down anytime soon. Bobby Witt might get sent down if he doesn't start hitting. But Julio Rodriguez should be one of the contenders for most of the season. as always, barring injury. Another guy heating up, not a rookie, Cody Bellinger, 2 home runs off left-handed pitchers in San Diego on Sunday. Bellinger leads the Dodgers in OPS right now, and there's still some 100-1 MVP, 100-1 home run leader bets left. I thought those tickets were trash. I was probably going to throw them away. Not really, but looks like they might be kind of decent bets. 100-1. Still some out there. Yeah, the other thing with the Dodgers, interestingly enough, yesterday I was doing some other work on my computer like 10 minutes before the game time, and I saw the Dodgers just got slammed. I don't know if someone was watching something or someone was watching Mania warm up. I have no idea. But I do know a lot of money came into the Dodgers on the Dodgers at full limit markets like 10 minutes before first pitch. I grabbed a little bit myself just because I was like, well, if somebody obviously knows something if they're moving the market this late in the day. Dodgers stomped. I think they won like 10-2, so sometimes it pays to pay attention to the market and know what you're looking at. Speaking of home run numbers, though, Cody Bellinger, like I mentioned, still available at some big numbers, probably some 100-1s out there. This weekend, I added 2 more guys to my home run futures pool. I've been enjoying this market even with the decrease in home runs this year. Ozzie Albies 200-1 and Jock Peterson 300-1. I think that Jock Peterson 300-1 is still available at Westgate. They didn't move off my bet, surprisingly. But yeah, 2 guys batting at the top of their lineups. I think Albies is interesting because Acuna will be back soon. I'm not sure Acuna is going to be batting leadoff. I think Albies probably remains in the leadoff spot, but he'll have Acuna, Olsen, Riley, and Adam Duvall, for that matter, all batting behind him. And with those guys batting behind Albies, he'll see a lot of hittable pitches. So I just thought 200-1 was too high for a guy who's tied for the lead right now. I think early you get a lot of sort of variance, and you can still find some good prices on some interesting power hitters. Jock Peterson, another guy like that, 300-1, bats at the top of the Giants lineup. Not a great ballpark maybe for hitting home runs compared to some of the other places you can get, but like Salvador Perez, he tied for the lead last year playing in Kansas City. Not a great ballpark. Another guy I bet on too. Peterson hit 36 home runs in 149 games with the Dodgers a couple years ago. With a lot of playing time, it wouldn't surprise me to see either of these guys contend for the home run title. As far as Rookie of the Year stuff goes, Hunter Green, he did not pitch great last week. Going to get skipped in the rotation this time around. Not totally surprising. I talked about how his workload limitations this year would come into play, and the Reds are trying to be creative without sending him back and forth to AAA all these times early. I don't think he's going to make a serious Rookie of the Year run, and the Westgate doesn't either. They've already moved him back to 18-1. This was kind of thing that I talk about when I'm talking mostly to operators when I talk about this, but you cut his odds all the way to 4-1 after like one start. You knowing what you know and what I've said about the innings limitations, should have been leaving him at 10-1, 12-1, whatever, asking for more money on this guy. If you're gonna move him down to 4-1, he was 16-1 before the season. You move him to 4-1, now he's 18-1. I don't think his performance warranted moving numbers so much like that when you could have kept it above 10-1 and continued booking money, into this pool. Because remember, the goal is to write as many tickets as you can on the guys who aren't going to win. I don't know. I just thought could run that market better, but that's kind of just stuff that happens with booking these markets on occasion. If someone is going to beat Suzuki in the NL race at the moment, I think it's likely going to be somebody who hasn't been called up yet. Reds are already 8 games out of first place. The season started approximately 17, 18 days ago, so I would not expect much out of Hunter Green or Nick Lodolo, for that matter, also a low innings limit guy this year. Pitcher who does not have as low of an innings limit cap and who could come up and outplay his current price is Max Meyer, who I wrote about last week for VSiN. He threw 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts for Jacksonville. I don't think there's much keeping him at AAA at this point, except the Marlins trying to manipulate his service time a little bit more. But it also took the Marlins 3 weeks to figure out to bat Jazz Chisholm at leadoff, so they do things a little differently there in Miami. Nolan Gorman, another guy I wrote about, he hit his 8th home run for Memphis this weekend. Albert Pujols and a high strikeout rate is the only thing keeping him in AAA right now, but I'm guessing it's not going to keep him in AAA longer than July 1, or probably June 1 for that matter, excuse me. So 50-1, pretty good price for Rookie of the Year there if you think a guy who hasn't been called up yet is going to win Rookie of the Year. Grayson Rodriguez in the AL is probably a start or two away from joining the O's rotation, a start or two at most. I think there's nothing left for him to prove at AAA, and the O's are also just playing service time manipulation games at this point, especially with John Means headed for Tommy John and Chris Ellis lasting 0.0 innings, giving up 6 earned runs versus the Angels. I think it's likely that Grayson Rodriguez is up sooner than later. And then one more pitcher, Memphis teammate of Nolan Gorman, Matt Liberatore, threw 7 innings, 2 hits, 0 runs, 0 walk, 9 strikeouts this weekend. He's the pitcher that they got in return for Randy Arozarena, another guy with not much left to prove at AAA, probably just waiting for a rotation spot to open in St. Louis. And then there's O'Neal Cruz, who started the year in the minors, still AAA, Indianapolis. He's looked kind of uninterested at times, like he's wouldn't say he's protesting the Pirates, but he knows that he deserves to be in Pittsburgh, and he's like, fine, I'll stay here in Indy. He's not trying 100% all the time. I could kind of understand that. He probably, if you were in that position, if I were in that position, you probably wouldn't be too happy with the Pirates blatantly manipulating your service time and knowing that they're doing that. But I don't think the dropping him back to 13-1, which was higher than his opening odds at Westgate to start the season, is reasonable at this point. I think that's too high. It's way too high. We know he's going to be up. We know he's a unicorn. I probably might bet some of that 13-1 myself, personally. Going to take a break real quick, come back, and then I will have a couple bets to look for today. So stay tuned for that. Welcome back, Wide World of Weingarten. Got some bets to give you. Just trying to check the score in this soccer game. 1-0 in what looks like, I think, the 33rd minute. So that's cool. I got over 2.5. So early goals, good. But yeah, bets for today, stuff that you can bet on. I made one bet on a side. I bet the Rockies plus 161. I like Kyle Freeland a lot. I actually don't mind a lot about the Rockies, weirdly enough. I think 161 is a pretty good price against Kyle Gibson, so that's my side for today. Then I got 2 first inning bets that I like. The first one is the Mets Cardinals, yes. The price right now is plus 120, but I think this is the kind of game, especially with Max Scherzer pitching, that if you want to bet the yes, you can wait way closer to game time. And, I'm talking even a minute or two before the game starts. I don't think this is kind of game that's going to attract a lot of money on the yes score early. So if you wait, you could watch the no score bettors kind of bet this price up and up and up. I think right before the game, it would surprise me to see plus 135 or plus 140. So Mets Cardinals, I'm going to just mark it at plus 120, but the best price you can, anything higher than 120 would absolutely be much better. Then the other one, I'm betting Dodgers yes score, even money, plus 100. That's my my favorite first inning there. And then Cy Young, I mentioned Pablo Lopez. He's got a .54 ERA through his first 17 innings with 17 strikeouts. Got my attention. Skeptical that he's the kind of guy who can keep it up for the entire season, but I think 50-1. It's available at BetMGM, DraftKings, FanDuel. Reasonable number, I think, based on his performance to start the season. I'm impressed by his pitch mix, and I'm going to take some of that 50-1. I don't have a bunch of runners in the NL. I think I have I have like Flaherty at 200 to 1. I have DeGrom at like 60 and 100, some big numbers there. I got Kershaw. I got some Kershaw at some big numbers. And I'm always probably forgetting a guy or two, you know. But I don't really have much in the NL market, so I'm going to add some Pablo Lopez 50 to 1. And those are my bets today. So thanks for listening. I'll be back tomorrow. I've been on the air longer than CNN Plus.